and fine at your places. I'm Priyanka Vish from Ardent Progressive School. Today in this session, we'll be starting the second chapter of accountancy, which is theory base of accounting. As in the previous chapter, we have studied about the basic concept of accounting, its characteristics, its qualitative features, etc. So it was all about accounting. But here in this chapter, we will be learning about some accounting principles and convention. So today in this session, we'll be covering only accounting principles. Accounting principles they are just a set of rules and regulations which is to be followed by the accountant while preparing the accounts or while recording the transactions. Now, there are various types of accounting principles. First is going concern concept. Second is consistency concept. Then accrual concept, business entity concept, money measurement concept, accounting period concept, historical cost concept, dual aspect concept, revenue recognition concept, matching concept and objectivity concept. All these are kinds of accounting principles. Accounting principles are set of rules and standard language which is to be followed while preparing accounts. So it is basically based on set rules and standard language. Now next we have accounting convention. So there are three types of accounting convention. Convention of full disclosure, contingent liabilities and convention of materiality. Now accounting conventions are followed for preparing the customs and general agreement. So basic difference between accounting principles and accounting conventions are accounting principles, it consists of set of rules which is to be followed for recording the transaction, whereas accounting conventions are followed to prepare profit and loss account and balance sheet of the company. So for preparing final accounts, accounting convention will be used, and for just recording the transaction in the books of account, accounting principles will be followed. So now we will be studying about the accounting principles in details. So let's get started with today's topic, which is accounting principles. Now, before learning about the principles of accounting, we will first discuss about the meaning of accounting principles. See, as in the previous classes, we have discussed that there is a difference between accounting and accountancy. Accounting means where the transactions are recorded to ascertain the net profit or net results of the business, and accountancy means it consists of all the principles and regulations which are kept in mind while recording the transaction. So here, unlike in the past when accounting statements are largely needed by the proprietor, these days the accounting statements are needed by various parties who have vested or invested in the business. That interested party can be proprietors, investors, creditors, etc. So here, accounting of statements, or we can say accounting statements, disclose the profitability and solvency of the business to various parties. We know accounting statements include profit and loss account, trading account and balance sheet. Profit and loss account ascertains the profitability of the business, whereas balance sheet ascertains the financial position of the business. So it is necessary that these statements should be prepared according to some standard language and set rules. So whatever transaction is recorded in the books of account, it should be recorded according to some standard language and set rules. And these rules are usually called generally accepted accounting principle. So by this it is clear that accounting principles are basically standard language and set rules which is necessary to follow while preparing the financial statements of the company, and these rules are called generally accepted accounting principle. Now these principles have been generally accepted by all the accountants all over the world as general guidelines for preparing the accounting statements is to be followed by every accountant. Now these principles have developed over a course of period from usage, reason, common experiences, historical precedents, statements of individuals, professional bodies and regulation of government agencies. Now we will see why there is a need of accounting principles. So in order to make the accounting information meaningful to its internal users and external users, it is very important that such information should be reliable as well as comparable. Comparability of information is required to see how firm has performed as compared to the other firms, and it has performed as compared to the previous year. So for comparison of the firm's result in the 2 years, or to compare the firm result with the other firm, comparability is necessary, and this becomes possible only if the information provided by the financial statements is based on some set of rules known as policies, principles and convention. Now these rules, which is usually called generally accepted accounting principle, these rules bring uniformity and consistency to the process of accounting. That is why there is a need of accounting principles to be followed while preparing financial statements of the company. So now we'll be discussing about the types of accounting principle. First type is going concern concept. Now going concern concept means if I have started a business, I will start the business with the assumption that the business will continue in the future. So we can say, as per this concept, it is assumed that the business will continue to exist for a long period in the future. Everyone who is starting a business, they will start the business by assuming that the business will continue in future. Second, the transactions are recorded in the books of business, that is a continuing enterprise. So why transactions are recorded in the books of accounts? They are recorded in the books of accounts so that the company can get to know about their profitability in the near future. Next is, it is also because of the going concern concept that the outside parties enter into long-term contacts with the enterprise. They give loans to the enterprise and they purchases the shares and debentures of the enterprise. Now the outsiders or the external users, they are interested in the business, as if they invest in the business today, they will get the interest on such investment in near future. So by this it is also proved that business is a going concern concept. Another example of this concept is the prepaid expenses. Now what is prepaid expenses? We know the expenses which we have paid in advance. Now if the expenses is paid in advance, we know there will be no realizable value. It cannot be converted into cash, but still they are shown on the asset side in the balance sheet. Why? Because the benefit of such expenses will be received in future. That is why we include prepaid expenses in current assets, because as by paying the expenses in advance, we cannot realize its value in cash, but yes, its benefit can be received in future. So these are the points which prove that accounting or the business is a going concern concept. Now next principle we have consistency concept. Now what is consistency? Consistency means continuous. So this concept states that accounting principles and methods should remain consistent from one year to another. They should not be changed from one year to another in order to enable the management to compare the profit and loss and balance sheet of the different periods and draw important conclusion about the working of the enterprise. So if a firm adopts different accounting principles in two accounting periods, the profit of current period will not be comparable with the profit of preceding period. For example, we can say there are two methods for calculating the amount of depreciation: straight line method and written down value method, or there can be another method also. But it is expected that the method once chosen will be followed consistently year after year. So if the firm has chosen straight line method in the current year, so this firm should choose the same method in the next year also, so that comparison can be done and fair picture can be concluded. Now here, but consistency concept should not be taken to mean that it does not allow the firm to change the accounting methods according to the changed circumstances of the business. So if it will be done, if consistency concept will be taken as not to change or static way, then the accounting will become non-flexible and the improved techniques of accounting will not be used. So basically, if the accountant feels that the change in a particular method will lead to a better disclosure of the profits and the financial position of the business, then the changed method can be adopted. Now next principle we have accrual concept. So in accounting, basically accrual basis is used for recording of transaction. Now what is accrual? Accrual basically means it includes the cash transaction as well as credit transaction. So it provides more appropriate information about the performance of business enterprise as compared to cash basis. So accrual concept is applied equally to the revenues and expenses. We can say in accrual concept, revenue is recorded when sales are made or services are rendered, and it is immaterial whether cash is received or not. So if we go according to the accrual concept, we can easily record the credit transactions also and cash transaction also. It will give a fair or true picture of profit earned by the company. So similarly, according to this concept, the expenses are recorded in accounting period in which they assist in earning the revenue, whether the cash is paid for them or not. Thus, to ascertain the true profit or loss for an accounting period and to show the true financial position of the company, accrual concept is applied. All the expenses relating to accounting period are recorded whether actual cash has been paid or received or not. So accrual concept is often described as matching concept. Next principle is business entity concept. So according to this concept, the owner of a business is always considered as distinct and separate from the business he owns. So we can say according to business entity concept, the owner and the business both are separate entity. The proprietor is treated as the creditor of the business to the extent of capital invested by him in the business. So if the owner is starting a business with the amount 5 lakh, that means the owner is granting 5 lakh to the business. So here owner will be considered as creditor and the business will be considered as debtor. So as we have discussed that the owner and the business firm both are separate entity, that means all the business transaction will be recorded from firm's point of view and not from the point of view of owner. Now the capital is treated as liability of the firm because it is assumed that the firm has borrowed funds from its own proprietors instead of borrowing it from outside parties. So if the owner is starting the business with some amount, that means the owner is giving that amount to the business and this amount will be considered as borrowed fund for the firm, and this borrowed fund is taken by owner instead of taking it from outsiders. Now, because of the concept of separate entity, the proprietor's house, his personal investment in securities, his personal car and personal income and expenditure are kept separate from the accounts of the business entity. So as we have discussed that the business and the businessman both are separate entity, that means all the personal assets of the businessman will be kept aside from the business entity. Why? Because we know we record all the financial transactions of the business from firm's point of view and not from the point of view of owner. So owner's personal property will be kept aside from the business entity. Now next principle is money measurement concept. Now according to this concept, only those transactions and events are recorded in accounting which are capable of being expressed in terms of money. So we can say an event which may be very important for the business will not be recorded in the books of business or books of account unless or until its effect can be measured in terms of money with a fair degree of accuracy. So here only those transactions will be recorded in the books of account which can be expressed in terms of money. Although there are many other important things which affects the business somehow, but they are not recorded in the books of account because that cannot be expressed in terms of money. We can take the example of this. For example, accounting does not record a quarrel between the production manager and sales manager. It does not report that a strike is beginning, and it does not reveal that a competitor has placed a better product in the market. These facts or happenings cannot be expressed in terms of money, but somehow they affect the business. As they are not expressed in terms of money, so they will not be recorded in the books of accounts. Now next principle is accounting period concept. So accounting period concept means as the business is intended to continue for a long period, the true results of the business operation can be ascertained only when the business is completely wound up. But we know as ascertainment of profit after very long period will be a little use to the proprietors, managers and the investors. So the businessman needs to ascertain the results in a frequent interval. So here we can say 12-month period is usually adopted for this purpose. According to the amended income tax law, a business has compulsorily to adopt financial year from beginning on 1st April and ending on 31st March in the next calendar year as its accounting period. So here the 12-month period which is from 1st April to 31st March, this is considered as accounting period. Now next principle is cost concept or historical cost concept. So here according to this concept, an asset is ordinarily recorded in the books of accounts at the price at which it was acquired. So this cost becomes the basis of all the subsequent accounting for the asset. Only the acquisition cost will be recorded in the books of account. Since the acquisition cost relates to the past, it is referred to as historical cost. So this cost is the basis of valuation of the assets in the financial statements. No matter what is the current value or market value of that asset, only its historical cost will be recorded. For example, if a business entity purchases a building for rupees 20 lakh, it would be recorded in the books of account at this figure only. Subsequent increase or decrease in the market value of the building would not be recorded in the books of accounts. If 2 years later the market value of the building shoots up to 60 lakh, then this increased value will not be recorded. Only the original value for which it was acquired, that is rupees 20 lakh, it will be recorded in the books of accounts. Next is dual aspect concept. So according to this concept, every transaction affects at least two accounts. If one account is debited, any other account must be credited. So the system of recording transactions based on the principle is called as double entry system. It is because of this concept that the two sides of the balance sheet are always equal. So basically the double entry system means whenever a transaction is to be recorded, it has to be recorded in two or more accounts to balance the equation. If a transaction affects increases or decreases the one side of equation, it will also affect increase or decrease the other side of the equation, or increase one account and decrease another account on the same side of the equation. So by this, equation remains balanced whenever a transaction takes place. So this is what double entry system mean, and it comes under the principle dual aspect concept. Next principle we have is revenue recognition or realization concept. So here, as we know, revenue means revenue is earned by sale of goods or by producing a service. So concept of revenue recognition determines the time or the particular period in which the revenue is realized. Revenue is deemed to be realized when the title or the ownership of the goods has been transferred to the purchaser and when he has legally become liable to pay the amount. So here, It should be remembered that the revenue recognition is not related with the receipts of cash. We can take the example. For example, if a firm gets an order of goods on 1st January, a firm is getting order of goods on 1st January, it supplies the goods on 20th January and receive the cash on 1st April. So the revenue will be deemed to have been earned on 20th January. As the firm got the order on 1st January, it supplied the good on 20th January. That means the good has been transferred to the supplier on 20th January. So it is assumed that on 20th January, the firm has earned revenue. No matter what, when the firm is getting the amount of the goods, but when the ownership of goods is transferred, we can say the firm has earned revenue. So here basically revenue means when the ownership of the good is transferred on the particular day. Next principle we have matching concept. So this concept is very important for the correct determination of net profit. Now according to this concept, in determining the net profit from the business operations, all the costs which are applicable to the revenue of the period should be charged against that revenue only. Which means for matching cost with revenue, first revenue should be recognized and then cost incurred for generating that revenue should be recognized. This is what matching concept is. Now the last type of accounting principle is objectivity concept. So this concept requires that accounting transactions should be recorded in an objective manner, which means it should be free from the personal bias of either management or the accountant who prepares the account. And it is possible only when each transaction is supported by verifiable documents and vouchers. Verifiable documents and vouchers can be cash memos, invoices, sales bill, pay slip, correspondence, agreements, etc. So we can take the example. For example, when the goods are purchased for cash, the transaction must be supported by cash receipts for money paid. And if the goods are purchased on credit, then the transaction must be supported by a copy of invoice or delivery challan. So this is what objectivity concept is. So in this session, we have learnt about what is the meaning of accounting principle, need for accounting principle, and also various types of accounting principle. In the next session, we'll be learning about some accounting convention. That's all for today. Thank you.